I'm an educated woman. I've always wanted to work. I dreamt of growing up and being a businesswoman. When I decided to spend time raising my children, they were the most important things in my life. I was the CEO of the household and I ran the household like a business. I'm an entrepreneur, like it's in my blood. I'm always seeking out opportunities.
If you've heard of the Longevity Bible Lifespan by Professor David Sinclair, you know that living well is more important than just living long. In fact, this show is dedicated to the science of beauty, wellness, and longevity. That's why I'm so thrilled to partner with Melrose Future Lab. Future Lab is Australia's first supplement range focused on extending not just your lifespan, but your health span. Available exclusively at Chemist Warehouse, these affordable and science-backed supplements are the key to aging well. Oh, I'm so happy to have you on the show. Welcome, Nicole.
Thank you. And thank you for having me.
You have had so many lives. I've known you, 25, maybe 30 years even.
I know. I was thinking as I was driving here, I mean, I think the first time I met you is when I was invited to a Kodali event that you were doing.
Yes, when I was the importer.
Yeah, and you were so passionate about the brand. And I remember you telling me that you went somewhere in the south of France or Bordeaux and you saw the grapes being harvested and you were...
you remember.
I vividly remember you and I chatting about the brand and you felt so passionate about it and so passionate about beauty and health. And I remember thinking, wow, that woman is amazing.
Thank you so much.
At the time we were
well,
much
we
younger.
were girls, and it was before we both had our babies, and before life. And in fact, one of the reasons I really wanted you on the show is one of the themes of this season is the theme of reinvention and next chapters. And I think that there's this incredible power and energy in points of inflection in our lives and transitions. And then when I was looking at your life story, there have been so many points of complete change. Yes.
So many versions.
And I feel like we have that in common, like, an immigration story, wife, mother. You're a serial entrepreneur, and I don't know if everyone knows this about you. You've done business a lot.
It's funny because I've also been in this deep thought about, change and reinvention, and because my girls are at the stage now where they're making decisions about what they want to study and what's going to lead to the next steps in their lives. And I remember saying to them, whatever you do now doesn't mean you have to do it in 20 years.
I love that advice.
But pick something that you love now and that you're passionate about now, and that also will help give you what you want and the path that you want to take. And I think that that's really important, that the younger generation now realize it is hard work. And when you are choosing a career, it doesn't have to be a career that you're choosing forever, but it has to be something that you love and that, that you're going to be passionate about and that could take you down a path. And if you do lead to a crossroad and you end up somewhere else, that's okay. But you wouldn't have got there had you not made the first decision.
And I'm thinking about all the things I've known that you've done. You're a Miss Australia. You have, as I said, been a serial entrepreneur. You are now a wellness entrepreneur, which is amazing. You have raised two beautiful, intelligent, capable daughters. You have a lovely husband who you really seem to like after all these years, which is wonderful.
Shock and horror.
And quite the achievement, really. And you're on season 2 of The Real Housewives.
Season 3 now.
Season 3 of The Real Housewives of Sydney. One of the things you just touched on, which I've got here in bold, is reinvention. And one of the things that when I watched The Real Housewives show, and anyone who knows me knows I don't watch a lot of TV and I don't watch reality at all, but I know so many of the housewives on the show. So
I know you could have easily been one of the characters.
Well, I would never do it. I don't have breath in my body for that drama. Oh my God. But the thing that I'm interested about is in a lot of wellness research, and you would know this from the work that you're doing with Bonpatch, is that friendship and relationships are the cornerstone of longevity and wellness. And what should be a celebration of female friendship and connection and community in shows like Real Housewives or in other reality TV contexts show the enormous amount of pressure.
I think what audience don't realize is that producers and when they edit the show, that they show the drama because that's what people love to watch and that's what they invest in. But there is so much friendship and there is so much camaraderie, and out of it comes amazing relationships. But that would make for boring TV. We'd all be sitting there drinking cups of tea and telling everyone how wonderful
No one's
they
drinking
are.
tea on that show. You're all drinking champagne, having bumps of caviar.
But the idea behind it is that, there is a friendship there, and that's what makes the story so real. And, people do have ups and downs in relationships, and it also shows that. And so I think that the Housewives is a small microcosm of a very big life. And I think that people have to realize that, yes, there's the drama, but we wouldn't do it if we didn't have fun. We wouldn't do it if we didn't have great camaraderie with our castmates and also our friends who are doing it. I wouldn't do the show without having some good friends with me, because I do it to enjoy myself and I do it for fun. And yes, there is the drama. A lot of the time,
and you're stuck in one right now.
Oh yeah, but a lot of the time it is amped up.
Yeah, right.
And it feels much bigger than it actually is. But I wouldn't do it if there wasn't the friendship there.
One of the things that I like about the show is showcasing the potential for new friendships at midlife. And I think that one of the key exciting aspects when I talk about with people, in their 40s, in their 50s, is all the possibility that comes after youth.
Well, you get what's so nice about a show like Housewives is you get to actually see friendships develop. Someone brings in someone who they've known, and you get to see a friend of yours become friends with them, and you get to see the storyline and how that develops. That's all real because you are getting to know someone. You're just doing it with the cameras on. But a lot of the time, things happen when the cameras are off that unfortunately they can't capture and doesn't make sense in the storyline. But those friendships do continue and or don't.
Yeah. Do you have any insight about yourself on how you've evolved? Because, you're living in two different countries, which is a lot. So you're balancing two different universes, really.
I think I've come to a stage in my life where if it doesn't feel right, I say no. I don't do things because I have to do them. I do things because I want to do them. And I think that reaching, the ripe old age of 45, I've finally come to that realization. Like, I raised my daughters with a lot of criticism a lot of the time about what they were doing, and they were doing too much, and why were they not allowed to sleep over at friends' houses, and why
Mine
were they
isn't allowed.
Why were they fencing? Why were they missing school and fencing? And why were they, why did we move to London? And all, there was just, they're doing too much. They're not doing enough. They should be learning more languages. There's constant criticism. And I felt like I knew what I was doing, and I was raising two very strong, independent women, which is what I wanted. And they achieved their goals. They got into universities in the US. They fenced for Australia. They achieved what they had set out to achieve. And I think I got to the realization when that finished, it was like, you know what? I was on my path with the girls. We were together. We were, as a family, we were on our path, and we got there. And I don't have to prove anything to anyone. And
did you ever used to feel like you had to?
Well, you doubt yourself, especially as a new parent. You doubt yourself. Am I doing the right thing? Is this the right decision? Am I going to ruin my children because they're not allowed to have social media till they're 18?
Do you think that for me, and I'll ask this about you because we've had this conversation before, do you think that it's our ethnic upbringing as well and being an immigrant? Like, there's a part of us that is deeply rooted in striving. And it's really hard to break that habit of wanting to just do a little bit more to get ahead faster because you start on the back foot. And do you think that drive from that immigration background and watching how your parents came here with nothing, like my parents came here with nothing, you can't rest on your laurels in the same way as your
when
Australian
is enough,
friends.
I think a lot of the time people ask, when is enough enough?
Yes.
And it's not a financial number, or it's not when is enough enough? Enough is enough when I feel it's enough. And I think
But when is that?
well,
When
this
is your
is
cup
it.
full?
I don't know. I don't know. But it doesn't mean I'm not happy with what I have.
Yes.
And there's a huge difference between the two.
Mm.
Wanting more is very different to being happy with what you've got.
Do you think that Housewives shares that aspect of that each of the women, because they're quite accomplished in their own right? Everyone, like, there are no stragglers. Everyone is really bringing something quite unique to the table. Do you think that to modernize a show like this and to bring it into, you know, the now zeitgeist of women having their own autonomy and power beyond their lifestyle, do you think that it is worthwhile showcasing that you guys are actually happy and that there's a sense of pride in what you've achieved? Because I think one of the episodes that I watched recently was with Caroline being upset that she was accused that her happiness and her satisfaction and position in life came from her divorce settlement, which would really hurt me too, I have to say, because I'm divorced twice and I never took any money from either of my divorces. And everything that I have and I've earned is mine in my own right. So if someone came and did a side swipe at me about that, it would devastate me. Whether or not I had a settlement, I'm not criticizing settlements. There's definitely a place for that. But do you think that the show or conversation in society should focus on what you just said, that sometimes we're just really happy with what we've got and where we're at?
I think that the problem is that society have their own views on what a housewife is and how someone should be, you know, whether, you know, a mother or, you know, everyone has an opinion. And I think that it's okay. I made a decision, Adam and I as a couple made a decision when I was very young that I would raise our children like that. And I was lucky that I was able to. And that was the most important job for me. But I'm an educated woman. I've always wanted to work. You know, it's funny. I was saying that I never dreamt of being a mother. Growing up, I never dreamt of being a mother. I knew it would happen and I wanted to be a mother. But some friends of mine dreamt of being a mother.
I know exactly what you mean.
And I never dreamt of being a bride. And I wasn't a bride, you know, like I just didn't.
But you made a good bride.
In Vegas. But I didn't dream of growing up and being a mother. I dreamt of growing up and being a businesswoman. But doesn't mean it had to happen then. And so when I decided to spend time raising my children, they were the most important things in my life. I was the CEO of the household and I ran the household like a business.
But you also had a business. You had your party business.
I had an events company on the side.
Which is kind of like what the Middletons had, right?
Yeah,
I used to always say,
I've always been creative.
Yeah.
And, you know, I loved doing that because I had to keep busy. And, you know, when it could fill in the gaps. But my number one priority were my children. And that's why I always knew I wanted to do something when they finished school. And that's where Bonpatch came in. But it's okay. There's different versions of people. And Caroline, like, if she got a settlement because she spent 20 years raising her children, good for her.
And she should have.
And why are women criticizing other women for their choices? We should be lifting each other up. We should be supporting each other. It's like people who give a backhanded comment when they give a compliment. You know, yeah, she's gorgeous, but I mean, she's had so much work done.
Lucky her.
Like, give a compliment and leave it at that.
On the way in, I was rolling my wish list to Nicole. I said, oh, can't wait to have a facelift.
You certainly don't look like you need one.
But I would love one.
You're aging beautifully.
Okay, let's pivot to aging beautifully because I love that in a way that we're paralleling into the same universe. Wellness for me and longevity is such a big part of the beauty conversation. So I grew up, as you know, in the beauty industry. But when I understood that without wellness, there is no beauty, it really lit up this part of my brain that I wanted to go down the path of. And I think the same has happened for you. Bonpatch is such a clever business. And I'm wearing two patches. I've got my Wonder Woman's on. I've got my Vitality and I've got my
Clarity
and Vitality on this one. And I am really fascinated as to why you pivoted into wellness. And I want to hear the story of Bonpatch because it is such a well curated, intelligent brand, but it's also a fun brand.
Thank you. You know, the thing is, I always knew I wanted to do something. I just didn't know what. And so for many years, I was always on the lookout for something that was new, something that was different. And as you said, I'm an entrepreneur. Like it's in my blood. I'm always seeking out opportunities. And I knew as the girls were approaching their final years at school that I needed to start planting seeds, which is what I did. And I started looking at different ideas and different products. And I knew I wanted to have something that I could touch and feel rather than a service industry. So I knew I wanted a product. And then I went down this deep dive. And I'm at the age now where, you know, mortality is not fast approaching, but it's around me. You know, I've lost friends from illnesses. I've lost a parent. So
I think once you experience those things, suddenly your health and wellness
this is it.
come
You
into
take
laser
stock
focus.
about, you know what, nothing else matters except how how your health and how well you feel. You can look amazing, but if you don't feel right, it's
and
just
we've
not
met
right.
those people
Yes.
over and over again. I interview a lot of people and I go, it all looks good,
Yeah.
but if you poke around, like, she might fall over.
That's it. And for me, raising daughters as well was all about being healthy. You know, they're both athletes. I wanted them to feel good as much as I wanted them to look good. Because yes, the two do go hand in hand. You don't look good if you don't feel good. You just don't.
Absolutely.
You don't glow unless
So
you're
how
healthy.
did you come across Bonpatch? Because to me, it feels like K-beauty. It looks very much in the kind of line of things that I've seen coming out of Korea. It's got the elegance and the design element that's very futuristic, but it also speaks to that midlife, you know, HRT and menopause patch, which is
This is it. So it's a similar technology to those patches.
amazing.
And they've discovered now that your body can absorb essential vitamins and nutrients that are under 500 Daltons. So, and you can have them in small doses and they're slow release. So I like to call these patches like the boost. You need you've got a hard day ahead of you and you need that boost clarity, put it on. It's got ginkgo biloba. It's got amazing things for your brain. You put vitality on. That's a shot of caffeine and green tea and L-carnitine. And so these are nutrients that go straight into your bloodstream and you can feel them working straight away. I mean, you put your patches on, 15
minutes ago. And I can, look, I know my body because I'm well tuned to know these things, and I definitely feel brighter, and I definitely
you feel like
sharper.
a buzz.
Yeah,
There's sharper. There's something you can't really quite. The brain fog is clear.
Yeah, and gosh, honestly, I can't wait to ship that product in the bucket loads because. And that's what I was going to say. One of the things that I noticed in the menu of products that you've developed, it's so obvious that someone who has gone through perimenopause or is in midlife and is busy has developed this brand because it's like you've read our mind, every single thing that we need fine-tuning on. It's like, yep, I've done that. Sleep, yep, I've got that sorted.
It. I mean, Relax is an amazing patch. I mean, that's got 24 milligrams of CBD in it. No THC, but CBD.
Nice.
And it just takes that edge off. At the end of the day, instead of reaching for that wine, you put a Relax patch on. I mean, you put Relax and Sleep on and you will have a dream sleep. And it's not going to knock you out, but it's going to make you very relaxed. It's going to help keep you asleep. You know, it helps with the tossing and turning. So I wanted products that fit into everyone's everyday life. I wanted something that you could fit into your handbag, fit into your pocket, and, you know, that works in with what you're already doing.
So tell me about some of the things that you've launched and also what's coming. And I'm really curious as to who you've collaborated with on the design, on the ingredients. I mean, all of that stuff is like, my audience loves to geek out on the science. I always like to refer to our, you know, cohort, our community as citizen scientists. So anything that you would like to share about that, we're absolutely all ears.
So the patches were developed in the UK. So we work with a lab over there with different ingredients. So for example, there was ingredients that I wanted in there that they were like, no, that will not get absorbed through the skin. So because
you're not a nutritionist, you're not a doctor.
I'm not. I know what makes me feel good, but they know what works.
Yeah, nice.
So we've worked very closely, and it's taken over 3 years now that we've been working on the brand. I want to now, in the next phase of this, work with some Australian ingredients maybe that potentially, are beneficial, but we have to now see if they can be absorbed through the skin, because your skin's your largest organ. So it's amazing how much you actually absorb through your skin.
Well, there's a lot of talk about what we don't want to put on the skin.
Well,
so it's great. And I think there is that awareness that the skin is the largest organ. It's a living organ. It's absorbing everything that is on and around it. So we may as well be nourishing
that's it. So the science behind it is that it bypasses your digestive system. So this is the boost that your body needs, but without putting too much pressure on your digestive system, on your gut health, because it goes straight into your bloodstream and you feel it straight away.
Do you have any beauty patches or any of your products?
So we have Glow, which has got a copper.
But that takes a while.
Yeah. So it takes, you need to rebuild your stores. So it takes anywhere between, 60, 90 days to really notice a difference. But we have a lot of our clients come back month after month and buy it, because I wear Glow and I wear Metabolize every day. And Glow has got GHK in it, which has got a copper peptide, which is amazing for skin rejuvenation and collagen. It helps stimulate your body's own collagen. So you really notice a difference. I've got
You have beautiful skin.
Thank you.
You
I've got doctors who give it to their patients after surgery because it helps with the body's healing process, and they've noticed a huge difference in that. So, they get them in their post-op packs.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So which is great, because people are slowly starting to see the benefits of the ingredients that we've got in our patches.
I have a great update to share from Melrose Future Lab. Hormonal health is a vital hallmark of aging and longevity. And whether you're navigating perimenopause or menopause, Melrose Future Lab's new ultra-complex supplements are here to support you. Backed by clinical research and using advanced technology for effective absorption, these formulations are designed to provide relief through every phase. Find them exclusively at Chemist Warehouse. Always read the label and follow the directions for use. I do want to say two things to you and anyone who's listening. I do get a bit of supplement fatigue, and, I take lots of things, and I love everything that I take, and I've got it down to a fine art that it works in my routine. So, I've talked about before that I take an AD+, I take resveratrol, I take protein and collagen, I take a bone supplement, all from Future Lab. But all the other, the fine-tuning stuff that you're talking about, it's really nice to have that as a patch.
But like, for example, if you're traveling and you're on a plane,
I don't want any more supplements.
You put on a sleep patch and relax with a sleep patch and a relax patch. And then before you're landing, take the patch off. And if you're landing and it's a morning time zone, put your Vitality patch on.
See, you've designed this for yourself. This is what I'm saying. I can tell that the person who designed this brand, do you know I didn't know it was your brand?
Oh, really?
No, I didn't know it was your brand.
Well, it's funny because there was this fine line between, do I want to be the face of the brand or do I want to be the person behind the brand?
I knew about the brand and I love the brand. I went, oh my goodness, this is so cool. I can really get behind this. It spoke to me in so many ways, the way that it looks, the way that it operates, the menu of things that you can do with it.
Oh, and the menu that's coming is amazing. It's so exciting.
And it is exciting.
We've sold out of sleep and detox so many times. Detox is amazing. And our whole concept with detox is that you detox before you retox. So it really helps with the next day.
Did you have like a hangover patch?
Yes, this is our detox. And it's amazing because it really helps with
Do you know I can't drink anymore?
Overdosing.
I cannot drink anymore. And I've talked about this before. Ever since menopause, my ability to metabolize alcohol is sub-zero. And so if
do you get drunk straight away, or do you
feel
just
sick? I feel poisoned.
Well, I need to send you some of our detox patches.
So what
when
I've
they're
been
back in
doing
stock.
is I've been taking this like a hydrating salt before
a trace mineral.
Yes, and it's wonderful. It's not like a soft drink. It's not delicious. But it's super effective. And that's from Melrose Health, and I have to have that before I go out.
You have to support, when you drink, you need to support your liver, because that's what goes into overdrive with alcohol.
Right.
And so you need ingredients that support your liver.
Right.
And that's where the detox patch comes in.
Well, I can't wait to try it because I have this like very specific routine. And when I say that I have this routine, it's for like 2 glasses of wine because I
A lot of
cannot
people
go
can't.
beyond that.
I mean, I drink alcohol and I go red.
Do you?
And the detox patches are amazing because they stop that. So I don't get that flush anymore, which is great.
Well, I love this because I think we're talking about having like a toolkit of things that support
Boosters.
real
I
life.
like to call them
but they
boosters.
support real life.
And this is it. And for me, it was very important that whatever I put my name to, because, you know, during the many years that I did Housewives, I was approached by a whole range of brands to put my name to them, to promote them, to do posts and stories on social media or to be an ambassador. And I said no to most of them. I don't know, if you look through my socials, you'll notice that I have not plugged a brand or a product. And that's because I didn't want to put my name to anything unless I really believed in it.
Well, you are super loyal. And we had this conversation the other day as well. Like, you know, you and I have been going to Joe Bailey since we were babies. I started going there when I moved to Sydney after university. So I was 21. You've been going since you were 14.
14.
And, you know, Joe came to my weddings. We were talking about that. And then we were talking about our love of Alex Perry. We've known him. How long have we known him? Equally as long.
Alex Perry made me my first dress when I was in year 10 for the black and white ball. So that would have been in 1994.
Oh, my God. Well, we are the original Perry girls.
So, yeah. So now I've known him since 1993.
Amazing.
Because I remember saying to my mother, I really want to make an Alex Perry dress. And it was at the time when the black and white ball was the big society ball in Sydney. And you had to wear a dress that was black and white and you became a jockey. And that was it was almost like a debutante ball of its kind.
Yeah.
And I remember, dreaming of Alex Perry and having one of his dresses. And he had a shop at the Ritz-Carlton at the time in Double Bay.
Yes.
And I'd walk past his shop and I'd see these incredible creations. And I always just knew that I wanted to be part of his world. And I'm so glad that my mum agreed and indulged me in that fantasy. And I still have the dress to this day, and I'll never forget. It was half black and white and sequins, and it was just magical.
But you also don't forget how he makes you feel.
Oh, I mean, you walk in there and it's just magic.
It's interesting that you should say that you just wanted to be part of that world. I remember getting dressed up for my first Joe Bailey appointment. I took the day off work because I could only get in on a Tuesday at like 1:00 or something. I bought an outfit for it. It was a navy blue dress. I had these white shoes and navy blue dress. And when I climbed those stairs in Knox Street, I literally thought that I had an appointment with God. And it was, I just remember exactly how I felt.
Yeah.
And I remember the first time Alex Perry made me a dress. He made both my wedding dresses too. He made my divorce dresses. And it's just a thing, right? When you
know. And that's why
you know.
It's so nice. Like I just did a pop-up at Joe Bailey.
I know
in
you
Double
did. It was
Bay.
wonderful.
And, to have the backing of someone like Joe Bailey.
Old friends.
But, he wouldn't back me if he didn't believe in the product either,
No.
which to me means the world to me. And I think that, it's so nice that we're around people who support us and lift us up.
I'm honoured that
you included.
You too, darling. And I was so excited. I said to Nick, I'm doing this event, the Ageless Radiance Club in Brisbane. She changed her flights and sponsored the event. So we can't wait. By the time you're listening to this, the event has been and gone. But it was
a huge success.
And it was a huge, well, it's already sold out. So it is going to be a huge success. But for me, it was so wonderful because it was such an honor to be able to just have that conversation and for you to say, oh, yeah, I'm going to change my flights. Yeah, I'm going to be there. I'm going to exhibit. What do you need from me? And that depth of friendship. And I think that there's a time and a place and room in our lives. And certainly this is what I'm trying to teach Lily. And by modeling it, not by telling her, but by modeling it, that the depth of friendship, loyalty, endurance over the years through all the changes is really nourishing and
it's very important
and very stabilizing, right? So the stories that we're telling now are about pillars of friendship, pillars of people who know you from the time you were a baby all the way through to now. But also there's room and place to welcome new friends and new energy and new thoughts into your life.
I think that the lesson that I've taught my girls is that it's very important about how you make people feel. They'll always remember the respect that you've shown them and how you make them feel. And for me, that is a crucial lesson, whether it's the wait staff or the person washing your hair or anywhere that you go or a CEO of a company. It's that time that you give them. It's the eye contact. It's how you make them feel when you leave them, because they're the people who will, you just never know how these people are going to come into your lives.
Well, we ended up becoming friends.
This is it. This is exactly right. The girl who used to wash my hair at Joe Bailey now is like one of the top hairdressers. And she always makes time for me and fits me in. And these are the things. It's not because it's, tit for tat, but it's just the path that life takes you. And it's good karma to be that type of person.
Yeah, it really is. And it always pays in dividends. It was Iranian New Year the other day, and we had dinner at my house, and my Australian friend and best friend, she did all of the cooking. She cooked all of the Iranian food. And we've been friends for 33 years. And around the table were all of like my ride or dies. And we were, dancing in the living room afterwards, after bellies full of Persian food and Persian ice cream. And I turned around to Lily and I said this with all seriousness. I said, darling, if your friends don't make you feel this way, you don't want them. You just don't want them. And it was one of the happiest nights of my life.
You want people who talk about you in rooms who they say, there's an expression, you want people who stand up for you in rooms that you're not in.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. You really do. I'm going to pivot hard left.
Okay.
Into fashion and style, because that's another thing that you're really known for, and you love to play in it. Now, we talked about Alex Perry, and now imagine being a 14-year-old or 16, however old you were when you were going to your black and white ball and having the opportunity to be dressed by Alex. But what are some of the things that you see clothes and fashion doing in terms of self-expression, how the world sees you, how you turn up, and how you change direction?
They say, first impressions are everything. And that is very true. And I think that people don't judge you by what you're wearing, but how well put together you are, how well groomed you are. And they're things that don't cost any money. They're things that just take a bit of time. But they're time that you can put towards yourself rather than putting towards other things, like nice, well-cut nails, filed nails, toenails, hair.
Gosh, toenails. I'm so judgy on people's toenails.
I know, but there's something, you don't have to go and have a pedicure, but cut your toenails, file them, cut them. I mean, you can paint them yourself. It's like I've taught my girls, a lot of their friends go and have blow dries and manicures and pedicures and all this. And I say to my girls, learn to do it yourself first. And then when you have a job and you can afford to go and treat yourself to have someone else do it for you, then that's when you do it. But learn to do it yourself first, because if you don't learn to do it yourself, you'll never do it. And, you don't need money to file your nails.
Do you think that's because you're Lebanese and I'm Iranian, and like our mothers know how to turn up? And our grandmothers know how to turn up, and our aunties know how to turn up.
It's self-care. And I think that's really important. And part of when you say fashion, for me, that's really important. And, when I invest in clothing, I've done it since I was very young and I started earning money. I'd always buy pieces that were very classical. And they were if I was to buy something and really invest in it, it would be a very classical piece that I know I would have for many, many years, or I know would come back in again.
Do you work with stylists?
No.
Not even on the show?
No. And some of the other girls do, but I know what I like. Mm-hmm. I know the brands that work for me, and I know and a lot of the clothes that I wore on the show were old pieces of mine, but I love Country Road. I think they do amazing basics. I love a good pair of jeans and a Country Road T-shirt and then a beautiful Chanel jacket.
I loved the other day on social media, and I had to giggle where you were talking about houndstooth, and I went, yeah, I mean, houndstooth is like leopard. It's basically a neutral.
Well, this is it, and it's a classic. It's one of you wear it, you wear it and you can put it away, but you can pull it out again in 2 years' time, and chances are it's back in fashion again.
Absolutely.
Fashion is so circular. Like, I get such a kick from seeing my girls wearing those little Prada bags?
Yes.
So they came out.
Or the baguette.
They came out in 2000s, around then, the baguette. They came out around the 2000s, and then Prada sort of done a re-edition.
Yes.
And I have the originals.
Me too. I have the originals. Lily gets to carry around all the OGs.
And I'm like, I said to my girls, this is what happens when you invest in classical pieces.
Totally. It's so
All that
true.
Louis Vuitton, the colours, the Murakami.
Yeah, he's back.
Yeah, they're all back. So it is circular.
What about perfume? What is your thoughts on signature fragrances?
Big perfume girl.
Yeah, me too.
I think anyone who knows me would know that I own, a few hundred bottles of perfume. For me, scent is everything.
I think that what we're talking about is aura. And I think that those are the things that define, people's signature auras, your scent, your grooming.
I don't have just one scent.
Yeah, I know, but
general.
The envelopment, like walking into a room and smelling beautiful.
Oh, it's crucial to me.
And your hair is done a certain way, always, and you're styled a certain way, not repetitive, but like, as you said, you take care of yourself and it's mindful. And I think that's one of the nice things that I like about this stage of my life is I am so comfortable with who I am and where I've landed. I'll play around a little bit with experimentation. And I have a wonderful friend, Mikey Ayubi, who's a stylist, and he commandeered me once and he said, you're going to do 2 years without wearing prints and you're not going to wear this and he came to my house and went through my closet and just said, okay, you're only going to wear this part of your wardrobe for the next 2 years and I'm going to get you a few things. And it was so organic. It was not meant to be. Yes. And it really helped me discover things that I didn't know about my body, about my height, about my silhouette.
I must say your jeans are very cool.
Thank you very much. Because Mikey made me wear high-waisted things and I'd never, because I thought I'm short, I have a small waist, but I'm short-waisted. I thought I can't wear high-waisted jeans. And so he's pushed me into all of that and they make my legs look longer. They accentuate my waist, but all these things. And I'm so open to expert advice, but overall, I'm pretty happy with who I am. And I think that, so my aura, that I like to call it, is made up of all the things that are kind of signature to me.
What's your favorite scent? Can I ask?
I can't tell you the question without revealing too much.
Okay.
But I will say that I love the classics. I grew up, I'm 6 years older than you, in the time of blockbuster fragrances.
Yeah.
So our patron saints were the big, bold scents of the 80s. And for me, nostalgic fragrances always have my heart. To me, it's time travel. If I smell a fragrance from the 90s, I feel like I'm in my 20s. So I like to play in that space a little bit.
Yeah. Scent is so much about memories and what it evokes.
Totally. The Proustian effect, which is the ability of scent to transport you to a feeling of nostalgia. We remember 70% more from our sense of smell than any other scent.
It's funny because I'll often buy a scent to wear on a particular holiday to mark that occasion.
Yes.
And then I wear it subsequently to remember.
Oh.
And I have such vivid memories. That scent carries me back there.
It totally does. Or the smell of your, beloved, of your children. Lily smells amazing. Like, she's one of those people who always loved fine perfume. Like, she got into the Sol de Janeiros a bit, but I begged her. I said, come on, we're not a Sol de Janeiro family.
My girls always wore fragrance as well.
We're fine fragrance
family. Did she go through the Calvin Klein one stage?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, she did. And at the moment, she's still kept Calvin Klein. Euphoria, but she wears Prada, she wears Dolce & Gabbana, and she wears Parfum de Marly as well. She's got a really good nose.
My girls love their scent too.
She's got a good nose.
Yeah.
But I think that all of those things mark who you are as a person, and they give you little touch points to dial up or dial down, like the Bonpatch. It's like little boosters of who you are to amplify aspects of you. I want to go back to something that we touched on before, and it was emigrating to Australia. And I'd love for you to share with us your initial memories of coming here and what you hold really dear now that you're living in Australia and in the UK?
So I was born in Dubai. My father was Lebanese and my mother is Swedish.
Yes, that's right.
And so we moved to Australia when I was 5. And both my parents had never lived here. This was the first time that we came. And the reason we came was that we had family here, uncles and on my father's side. So we came and we settled here. And, you know, my mother's mother ended up moving here. So there was a connection. And I think that, you know, to move countries and start again, you know, in your 30s, which my parents were, is very difficult. My mum had 4 children under 5 and, you know, it was intense, moving countries, moving house, kids starting school, new languages. I think there was a lot of challenges that they faced, but their challenges were never put on us and their responsibilities were never put on us, which as a child, I never knew, or it was never a thought of mine that we were immigrant children because we were given the same opportunities as our friends. But I knew things were different when I'd be at school and I'd have, you know, cut up carrots and cucumbers and celery sticks with a garlic sauce or a hummus to dip for lunch. And, you know, my other friends got, you know, sandwiches. But
I had the exact same memory. I remember
it's always the school lunches.
It's the first thing.
Yeah.
I remember seeing in a school lunch a sandwich, an apple and a yogurt and being sad for the little girl that she was poor because she didn't have all the different courses and hot food. Yeah.
I mean, my mum would send me soups in thermoses.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
And whatever leftover dinner was, you know, made into something gourmet
and bread
for lunch.
and herbs and this and that. I know.
I mean, I got voted best school lunches when I finished school. So my mother worked very hard to ensure that we were very well fed. And I think a lot of traditions and culture is passed down through food and sitting around a table. And my parents, you know, people often say to me, are you more Lebanese or are you more Swedish? I'm both. I'm so proud to be both. And I've embraced both cultures. I'm fluent in Swedish. I speak Arabic. I went and lived in Beirut for 4 years afterwards. I've never been embarrassed about who I am or where I'm from. My girls both, one of my daughters has a very Arabic name. My other daughter has an Irish name. But for me, I was taught to embrace it and be proud of it. And I've always liked being a little bit different. I've never sort of conformed. So coming and having, you know, we'd celebrate Christmas Eve instead of Christmas.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah,
the Nordic kind of tradition, exactly.
Our big thing was Christmas Eve, and then we'd have beautiful Easter traditions. And so I think through those traditions is what helped us embrace our heritage. And for me, that's very important that I pass that down to my children. Like, for example, when you're born in the Lebanese culture, you have mghli, which is, it's like a rice pudding with cinnamon and cloves and cardamom, and it's the most delicious
we have
thing
it too.
with nuts on top. I mean, I love it. So we eat it at Christmas time because, you know, Jesus was born, but we also eat it when a new baby in the family is born. My mum, although being Swedish, followed that tradition. And so she'd bring mghli to the hospital and we'd have it at home when people would come and visit. They're the small things that might seem very trivial, but they're what ties us to our heritage. And will I be that same mother and grandmother? Of course.
And I think what you're talking about, the story of heritage is the story of you and the story of our signature you-ness. And I think that comes across, like, of course, because I have known you and I know you. When I watch you on TV, I go, oh, I see that point of difference. And I think the same about Sally Obermeter because I know her and I know that she's got that strong cultural heritage. I can see that she's comfortable in her own skin and new situations.
Because we have been different. I have been different my whole life. My way of living has been open to judgment, you know, just things generally, my traditions, what we do, our upbringing. Like I was never allowed to sleep over at anyone's house. And I think that must be a very Lebanese thing.
And a very Iranian thing because I've never done it either. And Lily's not allowed.
No, I was never allowed. So, and people thought that was really odd. Like that's so much part of growing up. But I never noticed that I was missing out. It was just a rule in our family.
Do you think that going into a wellness business, are there any aspects of what you've seen people, you said, you know, you're now at a stage in your life where you've lost a parent, where you've experienced, and we've seen our friends with different cancers and different health struggles. Do you think there was any one particular thing that informed your decision to go into an area of longevity and wellness and this particular area?
I think that it's a huge industry. I think it's a growing industry. I think there's a lot of noise around it. I think things are constantly changing. I think what you're doing is incredible. I think you're bringing a lot of the truths to the surface, which need to be told. I think you're demystifying a lot. And I think that, so being in this space is something that's always intrigued me. For me, it's more important to feel good than to look good. I mean, looking good comes a close second, but
mine is pretty balanced. I like them both, truth be told.
But I do like to wake up in the morning and feel like I can tackle the day. And that's before I've looked in the mirror about.
Fair.
So, that's the first thing when you open your eyes. Thank God I'm alive is the first thing I say. And how do I feel?
Yeah, exactly.
And I want to feel good. I look at my mother who's, turned 70 recently, and she gets up every day and walks and swims and does gyro, and I want to be that. And I want to feel good and have the energy to keep up with my grandchildren and my great-grandchildren.
Well, it would be remiss of me not to ask what some of your wellness and beauty practices are. So I would love for you to share anything quirky that you do, but also anything quotidian and that you just do it every day and it makes you feel good and it makes you perform better and it makes you look better.
I think that exercise is a big thing. And I'm not one of those people who jump up in the morning out of bed.
I've seen that on TV.
Want to go for a run. It's just not me. I'm not.
But we've done Barry's together before.
Have done Barry's. But I do Barry's and I do exercise and I do my weights, but they're not I'm still waiting for that euphoric feeling to hit me at the end. You know, when people go, but you feel so good after.
I got so addicted to it. And then I really hurt my back. And I
have never been addicted to any form of exercise. I do love to go for long walks. I mean, I've been spending a lot of time in New York recently, and I'll average 20,000 steps a day. And I love just wandering. But, that's subconsciously exercising. But exercise, you have to do it. You have to be fit. You have to get out. You have to move, because I think that's very important. And I think, I'm not a big beauty person. Like, for me to sit still and have my nails done or that takes a lot out of me.
But you are a Joe Bailey girl.
I'm a Joe Bailey girl, but I'll often go in and just have a blow dry and walk out, or I'll go in and ask them to put the colour in my hair and I'll walk out again and then wash it at home myself. But I think my one luxury, and I think that it's important that it goes with your health and how you feel, is massages. I love to have a massage. Like, I could.
Maybe that's the Swede in you.
Yeah, I could easily sit and do it an hour and a half. I just love it. I love having my feet done. I love having my back and my neck and my head. I am a massage girl through and through.
And do you have it bumped into your life's routine as a wellness practice, or is it still in the luxury space for
it's
you?
A bit of both. And I to be able to block 2 hours out of my day to go and have a massage, I sort of don't know that I have those 2 hours till the day of.
I used to do this thing, and I used to have a life coach that I worked with for years, and he suggested that if, massage was something that you liked, which is something I liked, that you have someone come to the house. So for 3 years, I had someone come to the house on a Thursday and with their bed and massage me as though it was an appointment. And they were glorious years. They were wonderful.
You feel amazing afterwards if that's your thing. And the masseuse that I have at the moment she does a bit of lymphatic drainage as well, and I notice a difference. Like, I notice a difference in how I feel. I do love a spray tan too, though, I must admit.
Do you?
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but for me, like, to feel golden. And I mean, to look golden, you feel good.
Yeah, you do look good. I look better with a spray tan.
Yeah, I just feel like, I need less makeup. My clothes look better on me when I've got this beautiful tan. And, I'm not a big sun girl. I do love being in the sun, and I go quite dark when I am because, my olive complexion. But I just, a spray tan is a weekly appointment.
And what about,
especially in summer?
What about, all these exotic things that are available now in the longevity space? Do you like cold plunges? Do you like saunas? Do you go to any wellness centers or wellness? Do you go to spas and destination spas?
It's funny. I'll never go to a spa in a hotel, but I love a Korean bathhouse.
Yeah.
I love the way they scrub you raw. Like that, to me, I feel like I'm getting my money's worth.
Yeah.
Or even a hammam, a beautiful hammam. When I was in Istanbul, I went to a hammam. But I don't tend to visit spas in a hotel or have a massage when I travel in a hotel because I just don't feel that they know me, they know my body enough. And it's usually very relaxing in terms of, a bit of an oil rub down rather than a proper, feel like I'm really getting a good workout massage.
Before we go, I wanted to preview by saying your next launch is going to be in the menopause space, and it's not a medicine. It's as you said, it's a
These
top
are
up.
These are wellness patches.
Yeah, it's a wellness patch, exactly. But I would love to have a brief kind of chat to you about how you feel about the explosion of openness that is around women's health.
I think that it's finally come to the surface, and for all the terrible things that social media have done, women's health has come to the surface, and that's a positive. And I think that that's what we should embrace. I think that it's very important that we talk about it. We're 50% of the population, carrying children, endometriosis, menopause, perimenopause. They're all
vaginal health. I've got one of my guests that's coming on the show is, a urologist. Another guest that I have is a vagina coach. These are things that I want to talk about.
But do you remember that you couldn't talk about them?
Ever?
You couldn't tell anyone you had your period.
Yes.
Everything was being discreet. Everything was hidden, and now all of a sudden you can talk about.
We wouldn't talk about hair loss.
No.
No one would say that,
No.
anything is wrong with them. Everyone would always pretend we're getting our sleep, our moods are great.
I can't even tell you that I have a memory of my mother going through menopause.
Oh, she wouldn't have told you. My mum certainly did. Didn't.
She wouldn't have told me, and I don't think it was never discussed.
Absolutely.
It was never talked about. That generation just didn't talk about things like this.
I mean, even sleep. We openly talk about needing more sleep, wanting more sleep, getting more sleep. And
how you slept.
And how
it's become a topic of conversation.
It really has.
Quality of sleep.
Are we getting a libido patch?
We might be.
Ah.
There might be a passion patch on the cards.
I love this so much.
I know.
I love it so much. Nick, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you so much for having
joy.
me.
What an absolute joy. I'm so excited to see what you do in your wellness empire. I'm really absolutely delighted to welcome you to Ageless Radiance Club at the Carlisle in Brisbane. It's a very Nicole Gazal O'Neil moment because it is beautifully curated. I think you're going to like the way that we've set the tables and set the stage, and you will be a glorious addition.
I'm very, very excited to be part of it. I'm actually very truly honoured and I will get very emotional now that you've included me and that you've supported me and that you've backed me. And to have been asked to be part of it is a huge honour for me, and to have your seal of approval is massive. I'm crying.
Oh,
is this perimenopause? Is this what they call perimenopause?
It is, and it's an open, beautiful heart. Let's have more of these conversations, and let's do more.
Thank
to
you.
Support
You're an
each
inspiration
other.
in the industry.
Thank you, darling. As are you. You're an inspirational housewife, that's for sure, and an aspirational housewife. And when we weren't on camera, I said to Nick, do you think you could find me my third husband? I think you're doing great. You've edited beautifully.
Leave it to me.
Okay. That'll be our follow-up episode.
Okay.
The matchmaking episode.
Okay. Looking
from the
forward
Love
to it.
Patch.
Yeah.
From the Love Patch. Thank you again. It was wonderful to have you on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe to the channel, sign up for our free newsletter, and consider leaving a review and rating it. This really helps the channel grow and reach new audiences.